Welcome back to the Geneva Netball Centre. Jack Clifton here in commentary with you. Almost go time for the New South Wales Netball Premier League Opens Round 7 game between the GWS Fury and the Manly Sapphires. Both sides 3 wins and 3 losses in season 2019, and both desperately looking for the 4th win of the season to bridge the gap between them and the top 4 and break into the top 4, which would account for semi-finals netball in season 2019, although it is still a very early stage of the season. Still some time until we'll even begin to talk about finals netball, but it will be the Sapphires who will start off with possession first here at the Geneva Netball Centre. And a host of other games going on. The Urner Hawks taking on North Shore United. The Sutherland Stingrays up against the Panthers. And the Sparks up against the Heart over there on court number 1. So plenty of action here. 4 big games in the Opens competition. And there's the Sapphires that will play for in front in this evening's clash with a early goal. And it's the GWS side who pull themselves back level, courtesy of Christina Bruce. Goal shooter getting her first goal of the evening. And then a bit of a mistake there by Jamie Johns for Manly, just holding onto the ball a little bit too long. Trying to find her teammates in open spaces. Unfortunately, none were forthcoming. Push forward there to Eldridge. Mann. Goes back to Mann once more. Oh, that's a smart little pass there to Bruce, and Bruce cashes in. So some good teamwork there. And she's 2 from 2 this evening. And the GWS Fury opening up a 2-1 lead, and already we're starting to see their intent is they have an opportunity here through Bruce to go 3-on-1. She's so tall that she could almost just stand over on her tippy toes and put the ball in the net, but she doesn't need to on that occasion, and buries the goal to give the Fury a 3-1 lead. As we mentioned, both these sides 3-3. For the Fury, defence has been a real issue for them in 2019. They've conceded 353 goals, an average of 58 goals per game, which is the worst in the league. Although that was probably exacerbated by the fact that 2 weeks ago they lost to the Eastwood Ride Hawks by the tune of 80 goals to 58. And anytime you concede that amount of points, it's probably going to put you towards the lower end of the defensive charts. But they did bounce back last week with an impressive 65-56 win against the UTS Sparks in a end-to-end game full of goals. And at the moment, it's been all the Fury. They have a 5-1 lead, 2.5 going in this first quarter. But the issue for the Fury has been consistency. Yet to string back-to-back wins together in season 2019. It has literally been loss, win, loss, win, loss, win in their first 6 games. So they are trying to get some consistency and would love to get back-to-back wins and register their 4th win of the season. Sapphires will make it hard work for them. The Sapphires themselves have had an interesting start to the season, and a bullet-like pass there to Bruce, who finishes comfortably, and the Fury extend their lead out to 4 goals. Sapphires started pretty poorly. They lost their opening 2 games of the season, but then have managed to bounce back in red-hot form. They beat the Panthers 53-50 in round 3. The Hawks in round 4, 59-45, and then a big win last week against the Sparks, 58-34. Oh, sorry, 2 weeks ago, 58-34 over the UTS Sparks. Last week, their run came to an end. They lost pretty handsomely to the Sutherland Stingrays, 62-47. But since that 0-2 start, they have won 3 of 4, so that is going to be pleasing for them, and they're back within 3 goals as well. For the Sapphires, they are the complete opposite to the GWS Fury counterparts. They have the best defence in the league. Have only conceded, coming into this game, 292 goals at an average of just 48 per game. But attack has been the issue for them. Only 301 goals coming into this round 7 fixture compared to the Fury, who have scored 335. So you've got one team that can score pretty freely in the Fury with 335 goals for the season, who have really struggled defensively and have been leaking like sieves at the back, to a Manly Sapphires side that has struggled to find the net and struggled to score goals this season, but defensively are very watertight. So it has made for interesting viewing so far, but it's all the Fury at the moment. Bruce has nailed yet another goal, and all of a sudden the Fury have opened up a 9-3 advantage. 5 minutes gone in this first quarter. Slight deflection there by Claire Longy at the back, the goalkeeper for GWS, gives the Sapphires a bit of extended pressure here in the circle. Looking to work the ball into the semicircle there. This one is going to go back, and it's ball is in fact going to go to the GWS Fury. So a bit of a mental error there by this Manly side, and they'll get their chance to march themselves up the court more and quick interchanging and passing here. O'Keefe gets the ball back. Nice 1-2 there. Just rolls the ball into the circle, and it's a goal there to Natalie Eldridge. So Eldridge and Bruce combining well in that final third for the Fury. 10-3, the Fury over the Sapphires. Not danger signs just yet for this Manly side, and they create a nice defensive turnover here. Good work there by Ann Miller for Manly. Miller, one of the under-23s players, didn't feature for the Manly Sapphires in the under-23s game, which took place just before. Unfortunately, not a good night for the Sapphires as they went down in that contest to the undefeated GWS Fury. So nice finish in the end there as the Sapphires get their 4th goal of the evening. In that under-20s game earlier on, I was just talking about a comfortable win for the GWS side, winning by 62 goals to 43. It was a close game for portions of it, but unfortunately they couldn't wrestle the ascendancy back in that final quarter, and they were outscored 20-7 Manly by GWS, and they prevailed by 62 goals to 43, so a comfortable 19-goal win. So in the 23s, not only have they beaten the 2nd place UTS Sparks by 20 goals, they've now beaten the 3rd place Manly Sapphires by 19 goals. So a differential of plus 39 the last 2 weeks. If anyone had any doubts about the Fury in the under-23s competition as one of the premiership heavyweights, well, they don't need to look very far now. 14-4 here, Fury over the Sapphires. And they just stem the bleeding a little bit there to Manly through Lauren Cantwell. She need to get one there. That is just a bit of a confidence boost, I think, for the Manly side. Well, ballooned over the top. Good passing there. Goes forward to Christina Bruce. It's a good shot again from the tall goal shooter for the GWS club. 6.5 left in this first quarter. The Fury 15-5 up, and they'll get the ball back again. So another opportunity for them to surge their way down the court and potentially put some more hurt on this Sapphires outfit that wouldn't go as far as saying hasn't turned up in this first quarter, but have just kind of been caught up in a orange and grey tidal wave by the virtue of this Fury outfit. Wouldn't want to concede too many more goals going in that other direction, and they do. Unfortunately, Natalie Eldridge has got to her shooting accuracy at almost 100% to start this game. The Fury leading by 16-5. Good interlinking play here by GWS, but just comes a little bit unstuck. Some more extensive defensive pressure there by Langman and also Tegan O'Shannessy for this Manly side, as just a very wasteful with that little bit of possession, looking for that 1 in a million pass, really, or 1 in 100 pass to try and get in behind the GWS defence, but they can't, and the ball ends up at the other end of the court, and Christina Bruce says thank you very much and nails another goal. So 17 goals to 5. Worrying signs for the Sapphires early on. They go forward to Georgia Marshall, and Marshall manages to get her first goal of the evening. 17 goals to 6. Good strength used in the body there by Bruce, and they concede one, GWS, and they go straight up the other end of the court and pull one back immediately. So there isn't too much joy for the Sapphires. Really good work there by Marshall to keep her feet inside the baseline and then able to convert with the goal. You can see there the shot of the Manly Sapphires bench. No doubt lots of scheming and plans being thought by the coaching staff there, and wondering how they can get themselves back in this game, because at the moment it has all been GWS. And once again, Christina Bruce is able to find the goal and add another goal to the total. 4 minutes left in this first quarter, 19 goals to 7. The Fury with a 12-goal advantage. And again, just these fundamental errors, not doing the basics right, are the Sapphires, and really GWS have been able to pretty much have everything their own way at the moment. Their transition from defence into attack has been sublime, and they've brought up 20 goals in this opening quarter against the Sapphires 7. The Sapphires need to try and get some kind of momentum, need to try and control possession and territory and get 2 or 3 goals on the bounce, but at the moment it's not forthcoming. Good passing here by the Fury. Goes forward there to Eldridge. Can the goal attack finish? She can. It was a twirling shot which spun around the goal rim, but it went in and they all count. So the Fury have tripled the Sapphires score in this first quarter. Very worrying signs for the bench of the Sapphires. Marshall, and it's a good finish. So she's hit 2 or 3 in succession, the goal shooter for Manly. And gets the deficit back to 13 goals. O'Keefe goes back to the centre. McDonald over the top there. Keeps the feet in. Really well done there by Bruce. It goes back to Eldridge from some way out, and that's a fantastic shot. She hasn't looked like missing, even when she has had to take those shots from a little bit further away from the goals. And again, miscommunication, possession coughed up. It goes now to McDonald. McDonald gets the ball back. Further forward there to Parmenter. Lovely pass there to Eldridge. Eldridge goes back to O'Keefe. O'Keefe forward to Bruce. And Bruce is having a field day up there because she's got a bit of a height advantage over the goalkeeper for Manly in Tegan O'Shannessy. And she's been able to use her body to the advantage of her side and show good strength. Risky pass across the middle, but it's been able to pick up there by Jamie Mann, who goes forward looking for O'Keefe. O'Keefe goes across the ground to Bruce, unorthodox, but it still works. And the Fury are out by 16 goals. You don't want to try and foretell the future, but it's very difficult to see how the Sapphires, even over the rest of this game, there's still 45 minutes left, obviously, including the minute and a half that we still have in this quarter, try and wrestle back a 16-goal advantage. Just don't know if you can. That kind of deficit is very, very difficult, even for the best sides, to pull back. Bruce, a spinny type shot, and finds the net again. She hasn't had too many difficult shots she's had to make because of the really good passages of offensive play that we've seen here, and that's one that does just break down a little bit as Natalie Eldridge looks for the miracle pass forward there for her wing attack partner in Jamie Mann, unable to connect, and the Sapphires get a rare reprieve and able to break down field or down court, but that doesn't really pay dividends because possession is coughed up. They go deep to Bruce, And again, Bruce finishes easily. So inside the final minute, the Fury leading by 18 goals, 26 goals to 8. Jones. It's again a pass that probably didn't need to be made there. It was a miracle ball through there to Georgia Marshall, who has some height to her, but was never going to be able to pull that one in. Less than 30 seconds remaining in this quarter, knocked forward by Manly. And so it will be possession to the Fury. They're going to take time here and stop the clock at 22 seconds. And you think maybe one more opportunity for the Fury to get another goal. Ball looking for the hands of Bruce, but well kept away there by O'Shaughnessy. It's one back now by the Fury, but they just couldn't quite get their hands on it. And that will probably be the final meaningful play of this quarter. Quarter dominated by the Fury. And there it is, the whistles of the umpires to sanction the end of the first quarter, where the Fury have just completely run right over a bit of a shell-shocked Manly Sapphires side. 26 goals to 8 at the end of the first quarter. It has been all the Fury. Some really good shooting up front from Christina Bruce and also Natalie Eldridge. And for Manly, there has been some sparks shown by Georgia Marshall, their goal shooter, but not enough to really put any indentation into this lead. At the moment, it is the Fury having things all their own way. The lead by 26 goals to 8. Before we take a quick break here on the live stream, the other scores that are going on, the Hawks and North Shore United 14 goals all, and the Panthers trailing the Stingrays by 16 goals to 11. Well, please do stick with the coverage. We're going to take a short couple minutes break for me to catch my breath, and we'll bring you all the action of the second quarter. It's the Fury leading the Sapphires in opens competition in round 7 by 26 goals to 8 at quarter time. Welcome back to the Ginea Netball Centre, round 7 of the New South Wales Netball Premier League here at Sydney Olympic Park, and it is the GWS Fury who are going to be feeling very, very happy and pretty comfortable about the position they're in. They lead by 26 goals to 8. Bit of a bizarre scoreline, certainly not what we thought coming into this game. Both sides 3-3. The Fury, if anything, maybe even slight underdogs coming into this game, considering they've yet to string 2 wins in a row together this season. It's been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss for them. And for a side that on average is conceding 58 goals per game, we didn't think they'd be up by 26 goals to 8. So not only offensively were they very, very good, defensively as well, I thought they put a really good shift on in that first quarter. So let's see what the Sapphires can do. Defensively, they're able to get a nice little block in there. Ball is going to go back to the Fury. And bouncing away from the rim, but the Fury will get this one back. Bounced away and luckily was picked up there by Bruce, who was able to finish off proceedings despite Eldridge misdirection there. So 27 goals to 8, a 19-goal buffer now. Let's see if the Sapphires can show some fight and try and eat into this lead. Bounce pass across the court. Luckily it was tapped back in there by Miller, who's now playing a wing attack, and McGugan is out on the field wing defence. So they do manage to pull one back there through Georgia Marshall. 27 goals to 9 in favour of the Fury. Eldridge over the top to Bruce. Bruce can't get that one, and it will be, ball will be going away of the Sapphires. Looping pass down there to Lawrence. Cantwell back to Lawrence. A fiery pass up forward there to Marshall. Marshall looping across to Lawrence, who had a bit of contact there, and she will get the decision to go her way. Cross there to Marshall. Can the goal shooter convert? She can, and they're into double figures, the Sapphires. So they get their second goal of the quarter. Deficit reduced now to 17 goals. They go forward here to Lawrence. Over the top, it's a poor pass, really. Not a great lot of communication there between the centre and the goal shooter. I don't think Marshall was even really ready for that to be coming in her direction. Longy. Goes to McDonald. Down the court they go through O'Keefe. Sharp, fast passing here by the Fury. Jamie Mann now goes to Eldridge. Wasn't the best shot that she's had this evening. And we're able to counter and take the ball away once more are the Sapphires, who are looking a lot more positive in this quarter. So obviously the instructions being handed out by head coach Melinda Clark and assistant coach Karen Smith are paying dividends for them. A few bodies sprawled over the court at the moment. Back to the middle of the court. Searching there is O'Keefe. Out to Eldridge, back to O'Keefe. O'Keefe looking for some free bodies, but he's able to find any. And Bruce with the shot. Finishes comfortably. Her second goal of the quarter. 28 goals to 10 in favour of the Fury. Already 3.5 minutes have gone in the second quarter. And they go once more to Sapphires as Marshall's decide to come down court a little bit to try and add a bit of assistance to that middle portion of the court for the Sapphires that has struggled to be creative enough to get them the goals that they need. Cantwell, shot is deflected away, but she will get another opportunity here. Neither were great shots, really. They break away, deflected away from the Sapphires as the Fury retain possession. Downfield they go. And down the court, I should say. As that was a nice little passage of play there with Amy Parmenter getting involved. But defence has been better here by Manly in this second quarter. They've been able to stem the flow of goals being scored. Unfortunately, offensively, probably haven't been able to get the goals that they have so desired. Only 2 goals in this quarter so far, but have been able to move the ball briskly, although they turn the ball over on this occasion. And Miller, the player to have been judged to have created an error on that occasion, but the Sapphires do win the ball back. So defensively, making things a lot tougher for this GWS side. McDonagh. O'Keefe doing her best to try and keep the ball in play there, but can't. It goes forward now to Marshall. A bit of an awkward looking angle. Longy tries to stop her. She can't. Sapphires get their 3rd goal of the quarter. Fury leading by 28 goals to 11. And back-to-back goals. We haven't seen that for a while from the Manly side. And a bit of confidence coming back here for the girls from the Northern Beaches. O'Keefe. Eldridge. Fair way out. Bounces away. She's lucky to get the rebound back. And she is able to finish on this occasion just to consolidate things for the Fury. Not that they're really in any danger of coughing up this lead at the moment, but certainly wouldn't want to get in the habit of conceding 4 or 5 goals in succession. Marshall, one hand, scores the goal. There is a bit of a change. It looks like there might be a little bit of sweat or perspiration on the ground, which you obviously don't want as a bit of a slip hazard. So the Sapphires have the ball at mid-court range. Goes forward. They try and get the arms free to go to Brooke Lawrence, who was wing defence in the first quarter, centre in the second, and that's a really nice goal. It's the kind of thing that can boost confidence for a side that has struggled to find their feet in this game. And Lawrence's body check there, and she gets to march forward a little bit and loops the ball forward looking for Marshall. The ball was kept in initially, but it is going to be ruled as having come off a Sapphires player. Cantwell, the guilty party on that occasion, as we see the Fury, who haven't had a whole lot of quality possession. Well, you could probably say in this quarter, but particularly in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and the ball is broken away. Cantwell. McGugan goes forward now to Georgia Marshall, looking to bridge the gap some more, and she does just that. So the lead was 19 goals at one stage. It's now been trimmed back to 14, so a bit of respectability being added here by the Sapphires. Eldridge. Down the court they go to Christina Bruce. O'Keefe. It's an awkward looking pass, and it's picked up by the Sapphires. So probably around 5 or 6 turnovers their defence has been able to create in this second quarter, which is very, very promising. Another scoring opportunity here for Georgia Marshall. Can she make it count? She can. So the Sapphires now trail by 29 goals to 16. Momentum certainly shifting, and Sapphires are able to go quite as far as saying get their noses back in the game, but they're certainly making things quite interesting in this second quarter and playing a lot better netball than they did in the first quarter. And this is the reason why they have won 3 out of their 6 games this year and did go on a 3-game winning streak after a winless first 2 games. The tumble being taken by the GWS player on that occasion. And now a bit of a wayward, it was almost like a shot come past there that went across the court and didn't really lead anywhere. Miller puts the ball back into the centre. She'll find Cantwell, and Cantwell, after a couple of missed opportunities, is able to make that one count. So the lead all of a sudden down to 12 goals now. So certainly been the Sapphires' quarter. Trailed 27 goals to 8 at one stage. Since then, they've outscored the Fury by 9 goals to 2. Bruce, nice sharp passer to Eldridge, and Eldridge is able to convert for the Fury. Their 30th goal of the game. Certainly, Longman's trying to give some attention down there to both Eldridge and Bruce. And no surprise that since Longman has gone into that goalkeeper role that she's been able to keep Bruce and Eldridge fairly quiet in this quarter. Fury have possession. Let's see what they can do with it. Jamie Mann involved in a lot of attacking play. Eldridge from some way out. It's a good shot, but it does deflect off the post and over the baseline. The Fury will continue to get possession. Eldridge looking to go outside the circle. That doesn't work as well as you would have hoped, but they do get possession back. Only for a short, brief time as the Sapphires break downfield. Good passages of play there. Cantwell goes to the centre in Lawrence. Back to Lawrence. Marshall was involved there as well. Here's Lawrence once again. It's probably a third or fourth touch in this passage of play. Goes to Cantwell, who doesn't have a whole lot of height, but she gets good elevation on the shot. And she scores herself a goal. All of a sudden, there's a fair bit more noise and a fair bit more talk out there for the Sapphires. As they can have an opportunity, as we see a substitution for the Fury. And it will be Natalie Eldridge that will be making her way off the court. I was going to say before that wayward pass by the Sapphires would have been an opportunity for them to get within double digits, within 10 goals. But instead it's the Fury who are able to reset, keep themselves down in this final third of the court to try and extend this lead. It's 11 goals at the moment. And the game has got a lot more interesting after there obviously was that chance at the start of this second quarter and the end of the first quarter where you felt that GWS could have really run away with that game. There's obviously still that opportunity, but their shooting hasn't been as good in the defence. Much better from the Sapphires, but Bruce will score a goal here to consolidate things for the Fury. 31 goals to 19. But at one stage, 27 goals to 8. You thought at that stage, if they went on another run of getting 4 or 5 goals in succession and got the lead into the early to mid-20s, it could have got pretty ugly, and that's the last thing we want to see here on any of these games, but particularly on the live stream game here at the Geneva Netball Centre on the ShowCourt. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, although it is a 13-goal lead. A miscommunication by the Sapphires there. Miller looking for the quick jump pass forward to the goal shooter in Marshall, but it all breaks down, and the Fury, scoring that previous goal, have an opportunity to get back-to-back goals. Possession held on for too long a little bit there by the Fury. Jimmy Mann trying her best, but just couldn't find any open bodies. And good defence there by Longy at the back. Nice little battle between Georgia Marshall and Claire Longy, the goalkeeper and goal shooter, battling it out there. Forward there to Bruce. He uses her body well to get in a good position, and she scores a goal here. So a minute and a half left in this second quarter. Almost half time. Opportunity for the Fury to extend their lead, and they do that through Bruce, who's been kept quiet for most of this quarter, but has been able to find 3 or 4 goals in these last 4 or 5 minutes just to really put her side back in control and out by 15 goals. Marshall pulls one back for the Sapphires. Goes across to Bruce. 45 seconds left in the quarter, and she scores again. So, unfortunately for the Sapphires, their hard work is starting to become a little bit undone. They'd got it back to an 11-point buffer. It's now stretched out to 15. And the Fury defensively are just throwing their bodies headfirst into any kind of battle that they can, just to ensure that, one, that the Sapphires don't get any goals, and if they do, they're going to make it hard work for them. Marshall leaps high and takes that comfortably and scores with only 12 seconds left. So one last attacking opportunity here for the Fury. Can they get one more goal? We're down to 6 seconds, so it's looking unlikely. Loops over the top there to Bruce, who can't get her hands on the ball. Goes over the baseline, and that will be the end of the half, end of the quarter. Another entertaining quarter. They led 27 goals to 8 at the end of that first quarter. It was the Sapphires who outscored them 13 goals to 8, but the Fury still comfortably in control, leading by 35 goals to 21. A 14-goal buffer is their advantage at the end of the second quarter and end of the half. A couple of the other games going on. It's the Stingrays 31 goals to 23 over the Panthers at halftime, and also the Hawks 32 leading North Shore United at 27. In the game on the far side, it is the Central Coast Heart comfortably leading the UTS Sparks by 30 goals to 20. So lots of action here. And, yeah, not too many close games apart from the Hawks and United game, which is only being separated by 5 goals. We'll take a short break at halftime here on the live stream of the Netball New South Wales Premier League. Round 7 of the Opens competition. It's the GWS Fury, 35 goals to 21 over the Manly Sapphires. Join us in around 10 minutes' time for all the action of the third quarter. Welcome back to the Genea Netball Centre. About to start play for this third quarter. The GWS Fury up by 35 goals to 21. And looking to extend that 14-goal lead. And it'd fancy if they could hold on, still have a 14-goal lead or above double digits heading into at the end of this quarter, heading into the final quarter. You'd feel pretty confident they can go on the job. But the Sapphires obviously wanting to make amends. They were much better in that second quarter and defensively had to create a fair few turnovers and actually outscored the Fury in that second quarter. And we'll hope to do the same and try and chip away at this 14-goal lead. Good transition from defence into attack by them as they march their way down the court. Cross there to Georgia Marshall. Marshall just creeps this one in. First goal of the third quarter. 35 goals to 22. Small crowd in here at the ShowCourt tonight. Certainly not the biggest crowd that we've seen so far this season at the ShowCourt, but they have been very loud and very vocal supporting both these two sides. Both these sides 3-3 coming into today's fixture. Here's Bryce. Apologies for the first couple of quarters. I was calling her Christina Bruce. It was written down Bruce on the sheet that we were given, but my apologies for that. It is Christina Bryce, the goal shooter for the GWS Fury, and having a very, very good game as well. So both these sides jostling, trying to find the momentum and wrestle the ascendancy away from one another. Taken there by Georgia Marshall right at the baseline. She scores. So a couple of early quick goals here to the Sapphires have got them up to 23 goals for the game, down by 13 still. And lots of action in the other games that are going on at the moment. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of closeness being shown between the other three games, although the Hawks and United game is only being separated by 5 goals. Looped over the top there. Risky looking pass, but Marshall did well. Balancing herself there and scoring again. So Sapphire showing some fight. 37 goals to 24 in the early stages of this third quarter, but despite being switched on offensively, defensively, haven't done anything wrong, but just haven't been able to stop the Fury at the moment. They'll get another attacking opportunity. One away initially, but then Bryce sticks that big palm of hers up and then drills a brilliant goal. That was a really nice passage of play there. And then the ball is turned over once more. Quick movement. Bryce says thank you very much and scores 2 goals in about 15 or 20 seconds. So any progress that the Sapphires are making is quickly evaporates. The Fury go out by 38 goals to 24. Tapped away, a bit of contact there. Coming back there by the wing defence for the GWS Fury. Amy Parmenter. The bounce pass across the court, but is slapped away once more by O'Keefe, the centre for the Fury. Cantwell with a nice finish there. Classily done. She struggled a little bit with the first 2 or 3 shots, but has been able to really find her groove in that second quarter and into the third quarter there as she scores a goal. Quick ball movement there to Bryce, and Bryce, well, she never looks like she's going to miss. I think any time she's having a shot with the vicinity of the goalpost being near to her, she is going to be picking up a goal for her side, and then juggled there by Marshall, can't hold on to it. They get the ball back though, the Sapphires. Again, just so quick from that standing position. I guess you probably couldn't call it a set piece, but just from when they restart in play to be able to make 2 or 3 really decisive passes and find so much space in that final third. It's just so impressive. Obviously a bit of concern on the faces of the coaching staff for the Sapphires, knowing that I've had 5 or so minutes in this third quarter and really haven't been able to make too much of an indentation on this lead. Bryce juggles the ball well and scores once more. What can the Sapphires do just to get themselves back in this game? They really look up for it in this third quarter. They played well in that second quarter, but unable to really bridge the gap. They get back within 13 via a goal here. But a bit better defensive pressure that time from Manly, as O'Keefe had to look around for some options, then a miscued pass there. Goes out of play, and they're going to say this has come off a Sapphires defender, so maybe a little bit unlucky there. Bryce stretches back, takes it in that big mitt of hers, but a bit of a wayward shot. And balloons away, although the Fury are going to retain possession in this little period of play. Goes high to Bryce, who takes that one half step forward and buries this one. Good finish. McFadden now in that wing attack position, trying to have a little bit of support there to Bryce in that final attacking third. Cross court they go, picked up comfortably there by Georgia Marshall, and Marshall is able to pull a goal back. So 8 minutes left in this third quarter, the Fury leading by 42 goals to 29. O'Keefe slapped away, and bit of a falcon there for a couple of those goals, with the ball slapping right into the face. That's never comfortable. Incision of passes there, but punched away by Longy. The goalkeeper coming back and making sure that she got a bit of a defensive pressure there on the Sapphires. Marshall. That's a nice goal once again. She's really been the standout for the Sapphires this evening. Hasn't always had the easiest of shots or the easiest positions, but she's been able to be useful with ball in hand and get plenty of goals for this Sapphires side. Really well done there by Marshall, and she'll add another goal to the tally. So back within 11. So some fight and some resistance being shown by this Manly Sapphires outfit. 15 goals it was at one stage in this quarter. It's been trimmed back to 11. Over these next 7 minutes, they need to get it under double digits if they want to have an opportunity to push for a win for this game. Miller goes to Marshall, back to Miller. She's looking for support. Goes now to Lawrence, over there to Marshall, who leaps high and does well to take that. And it's a nice finish as well, so the Sapphires are firing now. You can feel the momentum shifting. They're back within 10. That is the best they've been able to get it since the first quarter, obviously, when it was a lot closer than that. Goes to McDonald, forward to O'Keefe. Infringement being called against the Sapphires. And Bryce once again, another goal for her, another goal for the team. How important are these final 6 minutes? Obviously, we still have a big final quarter coming up and a big final 15 minutes, but Sapphires, if they were able to trim the lead back to 7 or 8 goals, does just open the door for them heading into that final quarter. While for the GWS Fury, they'll know that if they can just wrestle the momentum back and play a little bit like they did at the start of this third quarter, where they started with a flurry of goals and get the lead out to 13 or 14 goals, then it'd almost be a good night for the Sapphires. So still lots to play for in this little mini period at the Virginia Netball Centre. Round 7 of the Netball New South Wales Premier League Opens Division. Both these sides, 3 wins and 3 losses coming into these games. Marshall scores. The Fury have not won back-to-back games this season. And for Manly, they have not lost back-to-back games since rounds 1 and 2, and Bryce scores a goal here for the Fury. Lead back out to 10 inside the final 5 minutes of the quarter. Earlier this evening, the early game, the 7 p.m. Game between the GWS Fury and the Manly Sapphires in the under-23s competition. It was a comfortable win for the Fury, who have made it 7 out of 7. They won by 62 goals to 43 over the Manly Sapphires. The Sapphires have dropped 2 games on the bounce. Now they're 5 wins and 2 defeats from their 7 fixtures. Meanwhile, the Fury are 7-0 and still lead the competition by 2 points. Good passing there to Marshall, and Marshall creeps this one in. 45 goals to 35. Is there a few twists and turns in this final 4 minutes of this quarter? Bryce comfortably gets there again and comfortably finishes. Lead stays at 10, 46 goals to 36. And the ball going to go in the opposite way. That's not what the Sapphires needed. Is that a bit of a momentum shift? It's been end-to-end stuff for the last couple of minutes. A goal for Fury and then a goal for the Sapphires, but now possession firmly in the hands of the Fury and deep inside Sapphires territory as well. McFadden. So a pass that was a little bit ambitious, it must be said. She was looking to loop the ball over the defence and find Bryce. But she was unable to get on the end of it and able to break free, although almost a costly turnover. Probably a little bit fortunate to get that one back. Marshall with the ball. Throws across to Miller in the wing attack position. Gets the ball back via a deflection. Cantwell from some way out goes across to Marshall. It's going to come back to Cantwell though from fairly close range, and she scores. So the Sapphires are back within 9 goals. They are like a little pitbull terrier, aren't they? They just keep nipping at the heels of this GWS Fury side. They won't give up. Well, the Fury are trying to get that little dog away from their legs at the moment, trying to wrestle themselves free. There's some exciting passing there and some really good netball. And Bryce finishes off a really good attacking move by the Fury. 2 minutes 30 in this third quarter. 47 goals to 37. GWS over the Sapphires. Cantwell. And that's it. The 3 seconds rule held the ball for longer than 3 seconds there. And so a couple of costly little turnovers and costly penalties coming against this Manly side that has really just broken down the resistance they've been showing. They throw forward to Bryce, and Bryce leaps forward and scores a goal. Minute 50, 48 goals to 37, and maybe another goal here. This might just break the back of the Sapphires to get that lead out to 12 goals. They go across court. It was wayward passing, really. And that one's going to go against the Sapphires. She was none too impressed there. Was the goalkeeper for the Manly Sapphires. Goes across to Bryce, uses her body well. Good positioning there. And creeps the ball into the net. It bounced around a little bit there, but she does bring up goal number 49 for the 6th place GWS Fury, leading by 12 goals, a minute remaining. They need to try and pull this lead back. They go forward there to Marshall, and Marshall does just that, scoring with exactly 60 seconds left on the clock. Desperately trying to hold out this Fury side of the Sapphires in these final 45 seconds. McFadden goes back to O'Keefe, deflects away. Nice turnover defensively there by the Manly side. They go down to McGugan. Forward to Marshall, loops the ball across court. Now looking for the run of Cantwell, and then a bit of contact there. And this just soaks up a bit more time as well. Means that if they were to score here through Marshall, it might almost be the final attacking play of the quarter, but still 15 seconds to go here for GWS. They're going to stop the clock with 12 seconds to go, and it's going to go back now to the Sapphires. They go forward to Cantwell. Back to Miller. Miller goes forward to Marshall with 5 seconds to go, and Marshall nails the goal. That's a huge goal for the Sapphires, who are back within 9, and that's the end of the third quarter. So just when it looked like the game was being pulled out of reach of the Manly Sapphires, they managed to score 3 goals in succession and right back in this ball game. It's going to take a huge final quarter to pull this one out of the fire. But some good shooting up front there by Georgia Marshall. Backed up well by the goal attack, and Lauren Cantwell has got them back at 3-quarter time here at the GWS Netball Centre in round 7 of the Opens division. It is the GWS Fury leading by 49 goals to 40. We're going to take a short break. Join us in 3 or 4 minutes' time for all the action of the final quarter. Here we are, time for the final quarter. Which way is this game going to go? The Fury up by 9 goals, 49 goals to 40. Sapphires pulled things back. That final period's that last little quarter. Opportunity here first up, and it just sneaks in. Brings up the half century for the Fury as well. Gets the lead out to 10 goals. Really, at the moment, this big lead and a potential win here for the Fury set up by the first quarter. Nice turnover there. Cantwell gets possession after Miller made the initial deflection. Back to Cantwell. Goes across there to Marshall. And Marshall will score and get it back to 9. But as I was saying, the advantage they have now of 9 goals really set up by that first quarter. 26 goals in that first quarter to 8 of the Sapphires. It was A bit of a calamitous display defensively by Manly. Far too many turnovers and just unable to stop Bryce, who, talking of Bryce, manages to score another goal and get the lead back out to 10 goals. But yeah, you think from there to it was a 19-goal lead at one stage. They've managed to wrestle it back to 9, so they've outscored the Fury from then on in by 10 goals. And they hold the ball a little bit too long there. Good defence by the Fury. Timeout being called. So defensively, the Fury setting themselves up really nicely. And I think when you can get that big advantage, regardless of what sport you're playing, and it just makes things so much easier. Obviously, you're not going to switch off and think automatically that you're going to win the game. But when you do have a 17 or 18 goal lead, it gives you a chance to, I guess, a bit of breathing room, as silly as that sounds, to just play your natural game and get goals here and there. And actually what GWS have done. And now the lead out to 11 goals now. So things becoming very difficult with already 2 minutes gone in this final quarter. So I'm not quite the enemy for the Sapphires yet, but the scoreboard is. And it's looking more and more likely that this lead could balloon out even more. They'll retain possession here, the Fury, despite Longman with a great piece of defensive work back in that goalkeeper position. Juggled well there. The Fury goes across to Bryce, and Bryce nails it, so out by 12. Was that one of the first nails in the coffin here for the Manly Sapphires? You think they're going to have to go either now or in the next few minutes, have a flurry of goals come in where they can score 3, 4, 5 goals in succession and create some turnovers. They pull one back now, but one gets the feeling that this might just be too steep a mountain for them to climb, although possession given away by the Fury, perhaps leaving the door a little bit ajar. Nice interception there by the Fury. Keeps the ball alive there through McDonald. McDonald goes further wide to Longy. Longy goes down court as well, but possession coughed up. Sapphires continue to move forward. Trying to find a crack in this impenetrable wall of defence that has been proven throughout this game. And a goal is scored there by Matthews. And they restart with the ball. Here we go, Manly. Flicked over. Marshall from some way out, and she does extremely well. Sapphires down by 53 goals to 44. 11 minutes left in this contest. Deficit down to 9 goals. They need a turnover here to the Sapphires. At least need to try and force a mistake from GWS. It's not forthcoming though. The passing just so slick, although, as I say that, they do have an errant pass, but there was a bit of contact there, so Bryce is almost just going to get a gimme here, and she finishes easily to restore parity. 54 goals to 44 in favour of the GWS Fury. In two of the other games that we can see the scoreboards, the Stingrays are running right over the Panthers. 9 minutes left in that way. The Stingrays lead by 61 goals to 38. And 9 minutes left between the Hawks and North Shore United. The Hawks, who only had a 5-goal lead at one stage in that third quarter, they now lead by 56 goals to 39. And the other game is the UTS Sparks and the Central Coast Heart. And it is the Heart leading by 45 goals to 31. So, unfortunately, none of these games have really been close this evening. Sometimes you have match days like that, or perhaps we're seeing the class and depth of some of these squads, and perhaps we're seeing the differing abilities from team to team and the gap being bridged a little bit. There's a player out in the deck who is able to get up as Marshall scores. Fury 55 goals to 46 over the Sapphires, 9.5 minutes remaining. But as good offensively as the Sapphires have been in both these third and fourth quarters, they haven't been able to keep the Fury quiet, and unfortunately, in a game like netball, where it is such end-to-end stuff, and we see so many goals and so much possession being exchanged, it is very, very hard to give up a big lead and then try and force your way back into the game. Fury leading by 12 goals now. You kind of feel that this might all be in vain by Manly. They're obviously not going to give up, and they're going to keep showing fight as Marshall adds another goal to the tally. And Bryce all alone up front. Oh, but doesn't convert. She will get another chance. She's probably a little bit fortunate there. It wasn't one of her best shots. Maybe a bit of fatigue starting to come in for both sides. And this one she manages to creep in to the net. So 8.5 minutes remaining. The Fury out by 12. And it's going to be a tall order from here for the Manly Sapphires. Looking like this will be their 4th defeat of the season. Their 2nd defeat in a row. So having gone winless in the first 2 games, they proceeded to win their next 3 over the Panthers, Erna, and also UTS. And lost to Southern last week, and looking more and more likely they're going to lose this game here. So we'll slip to 3-4 on the season. And Marshall, a one-handed loop there, is able to find another goal for the Sapphires. Moving the ball down court. Nice defence by the Sapphires, but the rebound falls fortuitously by the way of the GWS side. Just good passing, finding space, moving into space really nicely. GWS are not getting lazy in this final quarter, but they have just lost the ball there with some good aggressive defensive play, it must be said, by Manly. Trying to find some spaces and pull the Fury defence out of position. They can't quite do that. So ball pushed away there. The Sapphires win 11, 6.5 remaining. Is there a late little flurry from the Northern Beaches base club? The feet looking ominous as we see that ball ballooned away over the baseline, and unfortunately in these kind of positions where you're down by 10 plus goals, you've got to take some risks, and that one hasn't paid off. And now the Fury extremely quickly and aggressively down the court, although again that last pass from O'Keefe unable to find the mark of Christina Bryce. So the Fury have been a little bit sloppy as well, but they probably know in this position it's just keeping this Sapphire side quiet as they pull another one back. They're back within 10 goals, which has been probably the theme of the latter part of the third quarter in this final quarter. And a fantastic finish there by the Manly goal attack, Lauren Cantwell. So a 9-goal lead for the Fury. And unfortunately, a Sapphires player has taken a bit of a tumble, and that leaves it easy pickings for Bryce, who just is able to keep the head above water for the Fury. Well, more than just keep the head above water. Probably keep large majority of the body above water, but does consolidate the lead to a 10-point advantage inside the final 5 minutes we're coming into now. It's been a wonderful evening of netball here. Have you been watching on the Netball New South Wales live stream brought to you by the guys at Bar TV, who have done a wonderful job again, so a massive thanks to them for their hard work in bringing you all the pictures. I hope you have enjoyed the coverage, not just of this one, a topsy-turvy end-to-end game, but it's also the under-23s game. So looking like GWS are going to be 2 from 2 in both 23s and seniors. 62-43 winners in the under-23s competition. And now Bryce goes 2-2 to wrap up the game. 12-goal advantage with 4.5 remaining. And they're just playing for pride now, the Sapphires, and obviously goal percentage and goal difference a huge part of this Netball New South Wales Premier League competition. And brings up the half century for the Sapphires. So a bit of a morale victory there for them. They've been able to pick up 50 goals, and now, something might have been a bit of an injury there as a Fury player takes a bit of a tumble. Last thing you want when you're up by the handsome lead of 11 goals is for someone to get an injury. So Keefe, the right side of the court, leaps the ball forward, and how is that? That is just incision at its finest. Surgeons they were there as they just tore apart that defence, and in 3 passes they would have found a goal. That's pretty impressive stuff by the Fury, who after last week's win against the UTS Sparks, and this win here, all of a sudden they have moved themselves to 4 wins and 3 losses for season 2019. 65 goals last week, 62 goals and counting this week with still 2.5 remaining. Their attackers really blossomed. Attack really has never been an issue for them. 335 goals coming into this, so inching up towards that 400 goal mark for the season. One of the better attacking teams in the Opens competition. Just been a consistency thing for them as they score through Bryce. And consistency looks like it's coming to the Greater Western Sydney franchise as they record back-to-back wins for the first time in the 2019 season. Cantwell will be able to take a step forward and make the shot, 2 steps forward now and make the shot significantly easier. That's exactly what she does as she gets the score back to 64 goals to 51 inside the final 2 minutes here. More brilliant New South Wales Netball Premier League action from next Wednesday, 7 p.m. for the Opens and 8:40 for the under-23s next week. So make sure that you have your laptop or iPad or whatever it is, mobile perhaps, tuned into the Netball New South Wales website. That is nnswpremierleague.com.au, and head to the live streams page for all of your live stream needs. You can watch matches back, particularly from the 2018 season. So there's always plenty of netball action each and every Wednesday night. Next week it will be North Shore United up against the UTS Sparks in both the under-23s and also the Opens competition. The Opens will start at 7 p.m. between North Shore United and UTS Sparks, and then at 8:40 the under-23s counterparts of both those clubs as well. So plenty to wrap your eyes around in regards to the New South Wales Netball Premier League. Almost inside the final 30 seconds here. 65 goals to 51. They scored 65 goals last week. If they were to get a goal in these final 25 seconds, it would be the most goals they've scored in a game this season, which is funny because their under-23 side did the same thing earlier in the game. They hadn't scored any more than 61 goals, and they end up scoring 62. So one last chance here inside the final 10 seconds. Bryce does exactly that. So a new goal-scoring record for the season for the Fury. 4 seconds remaining as the clock is stopped, but there isn't going to be too much more that can be done with the ball here as we count down to the end. And full-time is called by the umpire, and full-time as the GWS Fury have been able to string back-to-back wins together for the first time in season 2019. They've comfortably beaten the Manly Sapphires by 66 goals to 51. It was all set up in the first quarter by the Fury, who scored 26 goals to 8 and had an 18-goal advantage. The Sapphires did their best and reduced the margin to as low as 9 goals at one stage, but in the final quarter, the Fury were able to run away with it again and showed some really good attacking intent and attacking play to end up winning by 66 goals to 51. They do the double tonight, the Fury having won the under-23s game by 62 goals to 43 over the Sapphires. Well, in the Opens competition, it is now the GWS side who now go to 4 wins and 3 defeats. Back-to-back wins for them. They go to 8 points, while Manly have lost back-to-back games for the second time this season, and they slipped to 3 wins, and 4 defeats from their 7 games. Next week, we have more New South Wales netball action from the Premier League. First up will be North Shore United up against the UTS Sparks in the Opens competition at 7 p.m. And then at 8:40, it'll be the North Shore United side against UTS Sparks in under 23s action. A big thanks to the Bar TV crew that have been bringing all the pictures and all the production that's come through. Fantastic job by them as always. This is Jack Clifton signing off from the Virginia Netball Centre. Please do join us next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on the New South Wales Netball Facebook page, or also their website, where you can catch all the latest streams, including matches from last year. On behalf of the whole crew, this is Jack Clifton signing off.